Hello, 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 and welcome to another exciting Circuit Stream workshop and webinar. Great to have so many people already waiting to join and tune into this webinar. Hello, Louise. How are you? Great seeing you here. Join us. Um, just before I do continue on, as with all of our workshops and webinars, I do want to make sure that you can all hear me and see me. Hello, John. Hello, Stephanie. Let me know if you can hear me or see me. Some yeses. That would be great. Ilya or Elia, absolutely excited. Great to see you and have you join us. Daniel, Austin, Sanja, Kuena, Anna, Syed, Mayank. Oh, there's too many names just flying by here. Jillian, Mickey, John, Peyton, Frederick, Lena, and Eli. Christina, welcome all. Thank you so much for letting me know you can all hear me and see me. Super excited to be hosting this webinar and workshop here today with our very special guest speaker, Simon Frübis, who I'll be introducing in a little bit here. But with all of this, and Syed, thank you very much. I try my best pronouncing all the names I can correctly. But with this, I do want to share some housekeeping items before we do continue on and kick off this presentation. Now, I love asking this on all our workshops and webinars. Let me know in the chat there, where are you all currently tuning in from? Where do you live? Where are you tuning in from this? I would love to see. We have Indriana from Indonesia. We have Mexico, USA, Virginia, Canmore, Alberta, Switzerland, India, Toronto, Kansas, Amsterdam, Rio de Janeiro, Nigeria, Egypt, oh lordy, Cameroon. We have such an international audience here today, and I love to see this. So many, motivated people, designers, developers from all over the world looking to learn more. And we have Shiva from Germany. That's where Simon is currently tuning in from and located. I myself am in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Not too cold for ourselves here in Canada at the moment, but things change very quickly here. But great to see such an international audience join us, and it's a pleasure to have you all with us here today. Now, the housekeeping items. As you all see to the right of the screen, there is a chat. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves, toss in some comments, throw in your LinkedIn profiles to network and connect with each other. Use it as you wish, leverage the chat as you want. Now, beside the chat, at the very bottom, actually, under the chat, there are a few tabs that you can select. There's the chat tab that you should be on at the moment, and there is a questions tab. So if you do have any specific questions that you want us to answer live for you, please do toss them into the questions tab. It helps us organize the questions, see what hasn't been answered, get to the older ones first or some of the higher upvoted ones first. So do toss any questions you have in that questions tab there. Now, beside the questions tab, there is also a polls tab. Now, the polls tab, we're going to throw in some polls throughout this presentation just to gauge the experience of the audience here today. Now, feel free to navigate to that polls tab because I'm going to toss in a poll right now to see if you're all, so you can get familiar with the polls tab. Go to the polls tab. I'm going to ask you all, what industry are you interested in applying, these design concepts and best practices, or what are you currently working in at the moment? So I just tossed in that poll. Feel free to go to the polls tab. There's so many industries that I didn't include there, but really helps us to see, where are you looking to apply this? Where are you currently working, or what would you like to get into in the future? So of course, design, UI, UX is a big one I see here. Education following that. Gaming, other, medical and healthcare, film, architecture. So lots of designers in the audience, which is great. Lots of knowledge nuggets that you'll be able to take away from this presentation here. Now, my colleague Dayon did mention something in the chat here I wanted to share with you all. There might be some chat notifications going on. Bloop, 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 bloop. If you would like to mute those notifications, at the top of the chat box on the right side of your screen, there's a little bell icon. Click on that bell icon and the notification sounds will end and you won't hear those little pop-up noises. So if it is distracting you, feel free to mute the notification sounds. You'll still be able to follow along with the presentation. But let's continue on. Super excited to get this going. A little bit more about myself. My name is Stefan, and I lead partnerships here at CircuitStream. I have over 7 years of experience in the tech industry, working with travel IT companies, learning management system providers, business integration and ERP platforms, and now in the beautiful world of real-time 3D technology, augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. Now, little icebreaker fact about myself, I was a member of Water Polo Canada and trained with the 2008 Beijing Olympic team. Olympics are going on right now for the winter, not the summer. I myself never went to the Olympics, but it was a great experience nonetheless. If you've heard of water polo ever, let me know in the chat. Not a lot of people know about water polo in Canada, but always great to see people who have heard about it. Now, today it's an honor and a pleasure to have Simon Frübis join us and host the best practices going into the design concepts to really help you become better designers. What tools he uses, what are those best practices, sharing all his insights with you all here today. Now, Simon is a creative technologist and design prototyper. He's got 4 years of experience in interaction design and helps organize the World Robot Olympiad in Germany. He does live in Germany, but I know Simon's going to share a lot more about himself later on. So I'll keep it at that and let's continue rolling. So, what are we going to be covering here today? Well, today's workshop is all about the best practices and tools for XR design. Now, we're going to take about 15 minutes or so to introduce you to CircuitStream for anyone who is new to it, the Unity 3D engine that we love to focus on here at CircuitStream as well, and the industry. Where do we see all of this going with real-time 3D technology or XR? Now, after those 15 minutes, I'll invite Simon onto the stage to share the best practices and tools for XR design, his insights for everything. And once Simon wraps up for about 30 to 45 minutes or so, I'll join back in again, wrap things up with some resources for about 10 minutes, and then we'll open it up for our live Q&A session. So Syed, I do see in the chat here, is this session recorded? Yes, it is. We are recording this and we will be sending it out to the registrants as well. If you would like the recording and we may have missed sending it out to you, feel free to reach out to us and we'll send you those recordings ourselves. And any resources that we do share here today on the workshop will be shared with you as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you'd like the recording or the resources. But we are recording all of this. So for those of you who are located abroad internationally, if it is dinner time, bedtime, feel free, we don't want to hold you back from anything, but stick around if you do have questions and you would like an expert like Simon to answer those for you. So again, this workshop webinar should take about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the Q&A session at the end. But super excited to get this going. So a little bit about CircuitStream. Who or what is CircuitStream? Well, CircuitStream was founded in 2015 when we identified a gap in the demand for education relating to AR and VR, right? People are looking to build these experiences, but no real channels to learn how to build this themselves. And our goal has always been to share a foundation of knowledge on the best tools, processes, and workflows for Unity, as well as XR design and development. And to date, we've helped over 40,000 learners develop these highly sought after skills. So a little bit about the CircuitStream team. Well, what we have here is a global team of industry experts who are passionate about accelerating the AR and VR industry through education. We have team members and instructors all over the world, which helps us also accommodate students across multiple time zones and geographies. Now, CircuitStream is also a Unity training and channel partner, and partners are approved based on their expertise, focus on quality education, and the demonstrated success of their students. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Unity, they have created one of the most extensive and robust development engines on the market, which I'll shed more light on shortly. And our instructors do maintain the highest level of certifications offered by Unity. So a little bit about, our educational programs here at CircuitStream for anyone looking to dive into this later on. I'll quickly touch up on these. We do have two main flagship courses and programs, the XR development with Unity, our XR design or XR interaction design and prototyping for XR. Those are 10-week courses and programs, part-time, two classes, live sessions, instructor-led per week. And we did recently announce and launch a Unity Developer Bootcamp. This starts in April, 24 weeks, career-oriented track. And I'll dive into these a little bit later on with you all. Now, who have we had, the pleasure and to teach and educate? Well, we've reached people from all walks of life and all over the world. We've trained teams and professionals from some of the largest organizations in the world, such as VMware, Walmart, Hershey's, even the US Navy, just to name a few. And we work with organizations large and small, right down to the individual learner. So you don't need to be a part of a business or company. If you're interested in learning yourself, we've got workshops, courses to help you and guide you. Now, I'm also excited to share that we've been partnering with some of the most well-recognized educational institutions in the world. Our XR development with Unity course and the interaction design and prototyping for XR program is now even more accessible to students through our university partners. And, just to name a few, we've got the University of San Diego, University of California, Riverside, Nevada, Reno, Syracuse, UBC, U of T, NATE, and so many more coming along to provide greater access to this type of education. Now, Shailene, my apologies. Great question. What does XR mean? I'll get into that quickly. XR is an umbrella term, extended reality, and I'll dive into that shortly. Great question, though. Great question. Now, for those of you who might be new to Unity, I'm going to toss in a poll here. So please do navigate to the polls tab. Again, the polls tab is under the chat. There's chat questions, polls. Go to the polls tab. I'm going to ask you all, how much experience do you have with Unity on a scale of 0 to 10? 0 being, I've never heard of Unity before. 10 being that I'm the Jedi Master Chuck Norris of Unity. Let me know. Curious to see the experience level of the audience here today. Who's heard of Unity, who hasn't? And it looks like we've got quite a mixed and diverse group of people. I know a lot of our alumni and students are tuned into this, so we've got a lot of experienced folks here. Some ones, zeros, and twos that are leading the way. So a beginner audience, people looking into XR, VR, AR, MR, design, development, potentially using Unity. Now, for those of you who said 0, what is Unity? Well, Unity is a free 3D development engine for building games, simulations, and experiences. It's the easiest way to begin making applications, games, and experiences for 3D or XR. Now, that question, Shailene, great question. XR stands for extended reality, and it's really an umbrella term that encompasses and captures augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. So just kind of a shorter term that we in the industry like to use to capture this kind of entire technology here. And I hope that helps. Now, Unity, it has a wide reach, and it is truly global. Unity is used to create over 60% of the world's XR or 3D content and applications. Unity's impact is really global. There's over 5 billion downloads per month of applications that are built with Unity. Over 190 countries and territories have Unity creators working and living in them. Over 50% of games across mobile, PC, and consoles were made with Unity. And about 71% of the top 1,000 mobile games and experiences were made with Unity. So really, a large reach and a big impact there. But let's focus on XR. Let's take a look at the industry and the trends. Industries embracing XR. There's so many industries out there that can use it for training, soft skills, hard skills, visualization, product demonstrations, digital clothing and avatars, you name it. And media and entertainment is a big one using it. Retail as well, like IKEA. Architecture for visualizing the flow of people walking through buildings. Military, automotive, fashion, healthcare, education, manufacturing, you name it. an industry is likely investing in this technology today. And in terms of geographic trends, it might be a little small to see, but there's been a large increase in countries adopting and the interest growing around the world in XR, from close to plus 50% in Mexico to over 100% in Nigeria and India and South Korea, Germany over 90% interest there, Canada and the US about 50 to 60%. So it's growing. The interest is there. We're still at the tip of the kind of iceberg, and there's so much room to grow with this technology and industry as well. Now, some interesting stats I like to share. Price Waterhouse did share in their Seeing is Believing report that 23.5 million jobs worldwide will be using augmented and virtual reality by 2030 for training, collaboration, and to provide new digital experiences. Now, Bloomberg Intelligence did share that the global metaverse revenue opportunity could approach 800 billion in the next 2 years. So again, so much growth, so many opportunities. And, in the next 10 years or so, we're likely all going to be using this technology in one way or another. So great to see you all here today, learning more about, the design, best practices and tools from Simon here today, who will, only help you grow and become a better designer for the future and growth here that we see today. Now, learning XR skills is an advantage, right? We just saw the industry, the growth potential. Hire.com shared that 1,400% AR and VR job growth was in 2020, 601% demand growth for real-time 3D skills back in 2019, and 122% demand for proficiency with 3D engines like Unity and Unreal projected to grow in the next 10 years. So how does one person actually go about creating an experience in Unity and publishing it, bringing it to life? Well, you have an idea, you bring it into a creation engine like Unity. That's where you develop and design it. Then you use an SDK to push it out to one of the headsets. SDK stands for Software Development Kit. But again, you have an idea, you create it in Unity, and then you push it out to the devices or headsets that you want it to be live for. So now that you've learned a little bit about CircuitStream, what Unity is, and the industry, what are you all going to learn more about today? Well, today we'll be showing you insights and best practices from a professional XR designer. We'll also cover how to tackle hand tracking experience design, what methods can be used to develop ideas for XR, career advice and recommendations for entering the XR market as a designer, and at the end of this webinar, answers to your questions from and alongside Simon Frübis. And again, live Q&A is at the very end, so do stick around if you have any questions we'd like to answer for you. But let's get this show on the road. Today, again, we'll be covering best practices and tools for XR design with Simon Frübis. So Simon, please do join me on the stage here. Again, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you join us here today to share your expertise and insights with the world. Thank you for joining, Simon.
Can you hear me already?
I can hear you. Yes, you are live now.
See me. One moment.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time to fix your webcam. I know it was working earlier, so feel free to play around with it and take your time.
Perfectly.
There it is. Hey, great seeing you, Simon. How are you today?
How are you? Nice to see you again. Great introduction.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for that.
Thank you. Of course, my pleasure. So you're all in great hands with Simon here now. He's going to take, 30, maybe 45 minutes to go through, his expertise and insights, the best practices and tools for design in XR as well. So Simon, take it away. Thank you again for joining us today. I will hop off backstage and then rejoin you all later on. But take care, everyone, and best of luck, Simon. See you soon.
Nice. Thanks a lot for this introduction. So yeah, let's begin the talk. In this talk, I will give you some insights about shifting from UI, UX design to XR design. And I will share my current best practices from the last 1.5 years to start your XR journey as designer? Maybe at first, I will introduce myself. Who am I? I'm Simon. I see myself as interaction designer and prototyper and tinkerer at heart. I live at the moment in Berlin, but come from southwest of Germany in Mannheim. There I studied in my bachelor's digital media management and communication, and there I created my first mixed reality concept as part of my thesis. I was super fascinated about this AR MR tech, but I felt like this tech is not ready yet, and me neither. So it was 2017, I think. However, I was so hyped that I about the design interactions, or about designing interactions in total between human and computers, that I began a master's in interaction design in Magdeburg. And there I spent also the last year of it abroad at the University of Dundee in Scotland. And yeah, now I'm in Berlin. And yeah, from 2014 to 2021, so it's now 7 years, I was also head of design and co-founder and key account for clients like SAP. And I was responsible for everything related to UI, UX design and on and offline marketing. So yes, and 2020, my XR journey started with my master thesis. I dived deep into Unity, C# and AR and VR. And what you see now is one of my first prototypes about my research topic. It was exploring ARM UIs with haptic feedback and XR. And yeah, the more I got into it, the more I realized how passionate I am about XR design and prototyping. And this and other reasons gave me then the courage to quit my job as co-founder and go all in for XR. And today I'm part-time researcher at an AR VR lab in Magdeburg and part-time freelancer. And here are some of my prototypes that you probably saw on LinkedIn. Also worked with HoloLens. That is my last prototype for the user testing. I also used the first day path-through from Oculus Quest 2. And you probably saw one of these prototypes on LinkedIn. It's one of the recent thing I did with a discrete touch detection, and also some discrete thumb scroll interactions. And that's where I am at the moment. But today I want to talk about where to start with XR when you are a designer at heart. And that's a good question that buggled me 2 years ago when I started as designer with almost no coding background. And yeah, maybe I start with a quote or a message from Dave, who wrote me on LinkedIn, and this summarize a point. It's summarizing on point the need for our webinar today. Yeah, he wrote me that, yeah, he's a designer at heart, don't want to develop games, and he want to prototype interaction experiences in XR. Can I recommend, or could I recommend a good starting point from a prototyping angle? That would be amazing. Thanks in advance, Dave. Right, that's where we are today and what I want to talk about. And yeah, I always love to start with this framework that probably every UX guru out there knows. It's Double Diamond framework. It's developed by the British Design Council and aims to achieve creativity and innovation through applying design thinking methods. You start at the beginning with a challenge, do user research, discover problems, define your scope with opportunity areas, and then in the center with a clear problem statement, and how might we questions, you dive into the ideation and find solutions and test them. That's actually the Double Diamond framework in one or two sentences. And the most important when you do this kind of, or when you're applying this kind of framework is be people-centered, collaborate and co-create and communicate visually, and then iterate until you find your desired solution. I won't go into details for this Double Diamond method, but I want to focus today on best practices and tools, especially for ideation, prototyping, and testing. For the user research part, you can almost apply the same methods and practices like for other disciplines. So let's put that aside. So next, what kind of tools are interesting for XR design in this phase? Here's a selection of tools I think that are super interesting for XR design and prototyping. There is, for example, Procreate for iPad, OpenBrush for drawing in VR, Miro for organizing your wireframes or your ideation and design thinking, and lots more. I don't explain all the tools, but I want to show you when to use what and what are my favorites. So here I created an infographic for you where I have placed each tool where I see it in the design thinking process. The y-axis indicates the level of fidelity, so from low fidelity to high fidelity, when to use what. And the x-axis shows where I would use the tool in the design thinking process. So from problem to solution, when to use what for ideation, when to use what for prototyping, and when to use what for testing. Important note, this is focused on head-mounted displays, so nothing for mobile AR, because this needs, I think, another approach, but I'm focused on HMDs. Right, and these are my favorite ones that I'm using for work. So Notion, FigJam, Procreate, and ShapesXR and Figma. And that are also the tools that I'm gonna cover today. More of these tools you will find in my Notion board. The link you probably saw already on LinkedIn, but I'm always updating it and adding new tools or highlighting my favorite ones. And yes, the link you will get afterwards. And yeah, let's start with the ideation. I use FigJam. It's more designer friendly than Miro, in my opinion. It has some wise design restrictions to prevent a messy board, and you can easily add your Figma designs to it, and that's very powerful. But however, choose what you like and prefer. I'm gonna run you quickly through the ideation examples that you see here, and they are part of my last webinar, but I want to show you there and highlight the important stages of the 4C method. I'm gonna explain that later. And yeah, you're going to find more design thinking methods in my Notion board that I share later as well. So let's jump into that. So when you come with you come from the user research with a problem statement, with a how might we question. That could be, for example, in this case, how are we consuming media in the future metaverse? Or how are we interacting with UIs and sharing experiences with friends? And this can be a good point to start and to create a little exercise for XR concept. I am using for this first ideation workshop the 4C method. It's called 4C because of collect, choose, create, and commit. It's based on the Workshopper playbook from AJ and Smart. I can recommend to read through it. It's very short and simple. And yeah, basically the idea is to, maybe I'm gonna increase the size here. Idea is to collect at first challenges, ideas, inspirations, everything that helps you to get inspired. And then from this collection, you start to choose your scope of work. You define where you want to focus on and to give a clear direction for the team. And you can use for this section methods like dot voting or create opportunity questions, how might we questions, and to focus on just these questions like we had here above. I choose how are we interacting with UIs in the metaverse. Yeah, and then you start creating. That's the solution building part. There are lots of methods that you can use. I will also share some links in the Notion, or they are already in the Notion board. Here, for example, 10 for 10 is a prioritized list of solutions for the how much we question. It quickly generates ideas and favorize them, that you get a list of of your best ideas very quickly. And then at the end, you commit for one solution. So, and after you committed for one solution, you create actionable items. So what is the next step? What are the to-dos for the team? And you can do that with an impact effort matrix. And yeah, I'm going to go through that very quickly as example here. Here, for example, I collect my inspirations in Notion. Here, I collected them for you on Figma. That are my most favorite ones. For example, for the question, how are we interacting with UIs? Here's some examples. But I can recommend to do that in Notion because you can add some meta information or sort them how you like. And yes, right. And this brings me into a mood that I'm inspired. Here you can talk with your team about these kind of solutions. What inspires you of this and that idea? And goal here in this collect mood is in this collect phase is to get your team on the boat, get your team inspired, and yeah, to be ready to flex your creativity muscles, because that's the next step when you want to create. In this create phase, it's important to have a defined time slot, like 5 minutes. You have a clock and the team, everyone writes down what you have in mind. Doesn't matter how good or bad it is. Nobody criticize anything. That's rule number one. And this, for example, is the brainwriting method. So everyone writes on a post-it an idea in 5 minutes. And after these 5 minutes, you exchange the notes, and then you continue the idea of your partner. And in that way, you have an idea that is created by your whole team and 5 of them, for example. And that is very, very efficient to create, to get your solution creativity muscles in a nice mood. Yeah. And when you decided for a solution that you like, that all of the team is liking, then you can use dot voting to select something. With, for example, here's this tool from Figma, from FigJam. Everyone should give his 5 thumbs somewhere, this and this idea, and then yeah, afterwards it's very helpful to do speed sketching, to visualize your idea, to show the team what you have in mind. And after speed sketching, storyboarding is very, very important for XR, because in XR you are creating a whole scene, user flow, and to understand each interaction in every step, yeah, it's important to have it as a storyboard, and it's the fastest way to create your idea. So yeah, I can highly recommend to use that to quickly iterate. And yes, there, as you saw already before, the best tool in my opinion is Procreate on iPad. It costs, I think, $10, but it's absolutely worth it. And it's super easy to work with when you have a pen. And yeah, and then when you decided for an idea, so here, for example, at the speed sketching section, I have 4 ideas, and I put one idea, I think the first one, yeah, the first one into a storyboard. And then, right, but that's yeah, that's the step afterwards. Before you, at the end of the ideation, you want to choose with your team where to focus on and what idea has the most impact and the least less effort, or high impact and low effort. So to do this exercise, you start by taking the notes, putting in the center, and asking the team how high is the impact, or how low is the impact. And then the team says higher, higher, lower, lower, and then you as facilitator go high and low. And afterwards you ask, how is the effort for this idea? And then they say higher, higher, lower, lower. And then at the end, you have together created an overview where you see that this idea should be ignored because it has a high effort and low impact, or this idea, tie scroll, has a high impact and low effort, so do it now. And yeah, or on the top right corner, it's high impact and high effort, make a project out of it if it's something big. And yeah, that's a breakdown how you could do an ideation workshop. And yeah, afterwards, after you have selected your idea, you created your sketches. I think I have also some, yeah, time. Oh, no moments. Also some, come back here. See the time lapse. That's not that important. Yeah. That's also a nice feature from Procreate. Here, other sketches that I did for my master thesis, for some hand UIs, how to interact with menus, how to interact with stuff on your arm. And yeah, then afterwards, ShapesXR is a very good address to continue your prototyping. And it's very recommended to start early on in 3D, because you need to emphasize with the user in the right environment. And ShapesXR is, in my opinion, at the moment, the best tool that provides an easy to jump on tool, and some nice features like the web importer, where you can add your sketches, you can add your some already made OBJs from Sketchfab, as long as it's less than 10 megabytes. And you can also import environments like a kitchen or your desk or whatever. And from there on, you can start building, start creating. Here's a little time-lapse video. And yeah, and that you just start with the fun part. You can master this tool in less than 20 minutes, and it makes it very makes it very accessible and fun for designers. At this stage, it's yeah, super important to get in the flow, to use your fantasy and don't over design things. Especially as designers, we love to put time into details, but in this phase of VR, especially for VR developing or XR design, it's important to design as little as possible, but as much as it's needed to communicate your idea. And when you are ready to communicate it, to show your vision, then start a collab session directly in ShapesXR, and start creating together. And there are also methods like body storming, where you can play together. So I did it last year with my mentor. One guy is holding the object, and the other one is placing his arm, for example, and you can create fake animations. Or and in this way, you can quickly try out ideas and see or get a look and feel for it. And but ShapesXR has also a nice feature called stages, and there you can create or easily redesign your storyboard in 3D and create something like a stop motion experience. Right, then ShapesXR has also a nice feature called the Unity importer, where you can quickly, one moment, here you see it, where you can just import your scene and also jump through the stages that you designed. And yeah, that fills the gap to the interactive prototyping to get a sense for the dimension and the scene. Yes, and afterwards, when I feel like I have a good storyboard as sketches, a good storyboard as 3D, and I feel ready for the vision, or I feel the vision and I'm ready for the details, I jump into UI design in Figma. That's probably the tool you all know and are familiar with. I'm using Figma to do the UI design, the layouting, and it's perfect to make quick design decisions and export necessary icons that you want to reuse in Unity. And there's even a MRTK Figma bridge. So MRTK is the mixed reality toolkit provided by Microsoft. And the theory is that you can design with their Figma templates an interface layout, and then in Unity you press a button and you get the Unity building blocks. But I didn't try it yet, and it's in beta state, and I don't know if this workflow can work efficiently because it will be probably full of bugs. However, I don't know. But let's see. Yes, here's another screen from an early phase. And here also it's important not to over-design things. It's very helpful to have a design system. For example, this template. I also shared my customized templates on Figma community. For my taste, this is not a nice UI design in total, but it's important for me to see where to place elements, where how is the icon design and whatever, and the readability of things. Yeah, right. When I'm done in Figma and I'm done with the layouting and UI design, I start prototyping in Unity. And there I can highly recommend to work with the MRTK framework from Microsoft. It's, in my opinion, the most mature and sustainable framework because there's a company behind it. And yeah, in terms of it's especially how to say especially valuable for hand interactions for AR and VR because it's made in the first place for the HoloLens development, so for AR, but you can also use it with Oculus Quest 2 or with any kind of other headsets, and it's slowly getting support for OpenXR. So in the future, you can develop one application and you can deploy it on every headset and every store, and that is quite powerful. Yes, anything I forgot? I don't think so. There's another toolkit or SDK that just got launched from Meta. It's part of the Oculus or the Meta SDK when you install it on Unity, or it's part of the Oculus integration. And yeah, this SDK is super interesting for UI designers because it gives the foundation of button design, of scroll interactions, of hand mechanics. How are my hands interacting with buttons when they go through it? And you don't have to build this by your own. You can take this template or you can take this framework, this SDK, and just change the button layout, the behavior, and the interaction. And I think this is a great starting point. And a nice YouTuber who's giving very great, or who's doing lots of great tutorials for these kind of frameworks is Dilma. His channel is called Dilma V. And yes, can highly recommend to subscribe and to start watching his tutorials. He has also a lot of MRTK tutorials that I linked in my Notion board. Yes, and afterwards, when you are finished, when you finished your prototype in Unity, the next step you want to do in the double diamond framework is user testing. It's super important to test early your prototypes. You can even test your ideas with ShapesXR and do it like the Wizard of Oz style. Maybe Google this name. The Wizard of Oz method is you fake stuff and you fake interactions, and with that you can also get very valuable user insights with the think aloud method, where people just tell you what they think, what they see, what they expect. But now in this stage, when you want to do real measurements performance measurements, time tracking, whatever, of different kind of interactions. There is a workflow that is inspired by Wova, where you can export the data from Unity to Google Forms, and from Google Forms to your Google Sheet. And maybe we can quickly go into that. A moment. Here it is. Right. I did a user testing last year in June with several programs, users. And yeah, that's, for example, the export that I get from Unity. For example, the user ID, what is the iteration count when they scroll through an interface, through the item list. And yeah, with all that data, you can get analytics data like graphs and see what UI performed best. And yes, I will quickly give you an overview. Here's, for example, the combination that we randomized the combination for each participant. Yeah, I had shortcuts on my numpad that I can quickly change the scene. Here it's showing, for example, with when I press 0 on my numpad, I can toggle the record button, and so on and so on. Yeah, demographic infos and some rating questions and the answers of an interview. That's how a user study can look like at the end. And yes, just to give you a brief overview. My acknowledgement in the whole process I do in Notion. I mention Notion quite often now. You see probably that I'm a fan. But yeah, I'm really a big fan of Notion because it's so flexible, and you can also collaborate in Notion and organize your research. And yes, I created this link. This is the link I'm talking about all the time. Right, this is this page, and I updated it in the last days. And there you find again the design tools, frameworks that I can recommend also with a star from me. Here, the design method pages, the workshopper playbook, a list of design thinking methods. Here, if you want to facilitate workshops and need some methods to get ideas, this page is full of this. Then he got some resources for ShapesXR, like 3D OBJ files with environments. If you want to see my talks from before, here my Procreate brushes or Figma template, and tools I can recommend for capturing GIFs. That is cool. That's the best one here. And whatever. The newest link and most important link here, maybe for you, if you want to start with Unity, is here, XR Unity. That's basically all my valuable links I stumbled over while learning Unity. So, and best tutorial channels. When I found something like how to get Unity data into Google Forms, here's the tutorial for it. Whatever, haptics stuff and collection of wow moments. And yeah, I can highly recommend to go through that if you are working or starting with one of these frameworks or programs. Yes, that is my Notion board. I didn't go through until the end. Here, I also posted some inspirations for you, where when you click on them, you see the GIF or the video. And yes, maybe it's a good source to start to get your inspiration. And here's some most valuable guidelines or guides with best practices. For example, from Ultraleap, it's the company who's creating cutting edge hand tracking products like this thing. I don't know if you see my camera at the moment, but this is a hand tracking camera that tracks your hands very, very well, much better than any other hardware. And yeah, they created nice design guidelines for that, how to create hand user interfaces. And yes, I can also recommend this design process approach from Microsoft. They are talking also about how to do the low fidelity prototyping, how to get ideas and stuff. And here are my most important books that I can recommend. 3D User Interfaces is a bit academic, but full of valuable stuff. It's from 2017, a bit not that newest, but already there's so much valuable, interesting content. And also the design of everyday things. It's also a quite old book from Don Norman. Probably when you come from the UI UX field, you know him already because he's the godfather of human friendly computer interactions. And there are a lot of interesting thoughts that are still very, very relatable to VR and AR, because you are designing in your spatial environment, and it's the same topic. And Brave New Worlds is also nice for natural user interface design. Yeah, and I can also recommend to, when you start in this field, follow your experts or your most inspiring experts, and because from them you get inspiration, you get the new stuff, and make a list. Go on Twitter, go on LinkedIn, and yes, I think we are at the end. Nice little quote that helped me to get through the endless troubleshooting moments that I had when I dived into Unity with my designer mindset. It's from Joshua Blake. He said, "Don't let anyone else ever tell you that you can't work on a technology you find cool. The only person holding you back is yourself. Make some time, take some risk, find a way to do what you love." And that is basically the most important mindset quote that I had, or that helped me a lot to focus on what I love. And in a way, I will get through it. In a way, I will get my prototype to work. And if not, I at least try to. And that was what I did in the last 2 years. And it's absolutely worth it to fail a lot in this field, because you learn from failure. And success is success is 1% and failure is 99%. So don't expect that you that success comes from always having success in a thing. So yes, I think we're at the end. Maybe you have now several questions, and now Steph can come back on board, I think.
Perfect. Simon, the man, the myth, the legend. That was amazing. So many resources and insights. Thank you so much for sharing everything you've done here and through your experience. I'm sure the audience loved this. And on this topic, for those of you who are still tuned in here, I'd love to toss in a poll here as well. And just ask, on a scale of 0 to 10, and please do go to the polls tab because I'll publish the poll here. On a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend this workshop to others? 0, you wouldn't tell a soul. 10, you would recommend this to others. I've just published the poll. Please do go into the polls tab there and let us know. 10, you would recommend this. 0, you wouldn't tell anyone about it. Helps us know, if we should have Simon back here to share some more exciting things that he has. But I loved it. Thank you so much for everything, Simon. Really do appreciate it. So I'm going to share my screen here again, wrap things up for about 10, 15 minutes or so. Simon, if you'd like to go grab a glass of water or whatever, feel free. I'm going to take 5, 10 minutes. But But with this, I will just mute your microphone there, Simon. You can stick around if you'd like. But this was amazing. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate everything you've shown us here today, Simon, and excited for the Q&A session in about 5-10 minutes here. Now, for those of you who want to follow Simon and check out his resources, feel free to take the screenshot here. I'll share the links at the end so you can follow him and check out his website and all the cool resources that he shares. Simon, feel free to toss it into the chat if you'd like at the moment. Dayon, if you've got this as well, feel free. But this was awesome. Thanks again, Simon, for everything. And for those of you who are looking to, become designers in XR yourself, maybe even developers, and use Unity Engine to create your own worlds, to work with augmented reality like Vuforia or other tools and platforms out there, learn more about C# scripting as a developer or to upskill yourself as a designer. We would love to have you with us in any of our courses and programs. And we welcome people from all walks of life, to those who used to work in the architect field, to other designers and developers who've joined Unity and Meta afterwards. We here at CircuitStream have helped several people get into Oculus's Launchpad program, where only 100 people around the world each year are selected. So we'd love to have you with us, share everything we have from people like Simon and our instructors to help you become better designers and developers as well. Now, for some of the courses and programs we have available, if you do want to dive into it, we do have a self-paced video course, Introduction to Augmented Reality. Takes about 6 hours or so. And if you're interested, feel free to check out our website, $50 for this augmented reality course. And we do offer a full refund with 14 days money back guarantee if you're unsatisfied. Now, for those of you who might be designers interested in learning more about coding or just getting started with development and you want to become a developer, we have an Introduction to C# Scripting Fundamentals in Unity course. This is 4 weeks long with 3 hours of live instruction per week split into 2 classes. If you're interested in learning more about C# scripting in Unity to be a better designer or to get started with development, feel free to check it out. $349 is the price of this short course here. It's all live and online and instructor-led, unlike the pre-recorded Intro to AR course. Now, for those designers who might want to understand more of the technical aspects and become developers, or if you want to get started with development and complement it with design after, we have our flagship XR Development with Unity course. This is 10 weeks long with 3 hours of live class instruction per week, daily open office hours available with the option to have private one-on-one mentorship sessions to work on additional projects. If you're interested in any of this, April 26th is our next cohort for the XR Development with Unity course. You can be a designer looking to learn more about the development aspects, or if you're new to all of this and want to jump into development, this is the course for you. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we have partnered with various universities to offer our courses and programs through them as well. So if you're in the British Columbia area in Canada, check it out. The XR Development course is on March 8th with UBC. If you're in the Ontario area, in the Toronto area, we have a course with U of T on March 8th for XR Development as well. Now, if you're in the California area and locally situated to San Diego, check out the XR Development course with the University of San Diego on March 7th. And similarly, if you're around the University of California Riverside area, March 7th, similarly, XR Development with Unity course through these university partners that we have. Now, for the designers out there that want to upskill in design, don't really want to learn a lot of coding and technical aspects in the back ends, we have our Interaction Design and Prototyping for XR course. Similarly, 10 weeks long, 2 1.5-hour sessions, daily open office hours, optional one-on-one support with personal projects. This course is really designed for helping you design experiences for AR and VR web and mobile apps, techniques to create XR prototypes, and storyboards. A lot of things that Simon had shared here today are things that you can learn to design yourself with this course and program. And we have this starting on April 20th as well. Now, similarly, the university partners UBC offers the design course on April 11th. U of T offers the design course on April 11th as well. The University of San Diego will be offering this on April 12th. And lastly, the University of California, Riverside will be offering this on April 12th, the XR design program. Now, for those of you who want to become, if you're looking for a new career, instead of upskilling in a 10-week course and program, but you want to maybe make a career out of this, right? You're new to all of this. You want to go from zero to hero. We have our 24-week Unity Developer Bootcamp. It's all live and online. It's a career track where we will help you and support you in trying to find an opportunity, career opportunity afterwards. It helps you prepare for a 3D development or design career, teaches you C# coding and logic, build a portfolio of more than 10 projects, including your own capstone one-on-one career services and project support, certifications, and we do have scholarships here available as well. So if you're interested, Dan shared some links in the chat. Feel free to check it out and download a syllabus if you're curious. We'd love to share more and see if it's a right fit for you. Now, with all of the courses and programs, we do have a great community and support with it. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of students and alumni in our Slack channel, different channels to support each other, events like coffee hours, show and tell, demo days, game jams, local meetups with some of the students, and speaker events like Simon and others who will be joining lessons or our workshops and webinars here. Now, again, there's so many careers that can open up with real-time 3D, from AR, VR development and design, game development and design using engines like Unity, 3D artists and graphics, simulation engineers, project managers, UX, UI designers, instructional designers, you name it. You can really use this tech with so many roles, and the doors open to so many possibilities afterwards. Now, for the 10-week courses and programs, the XR development and the XR design, there's no experience required. So beginners have no fear. We welcome everyone from all walks of life. And if you're interested in any of the XR development or XR design courses, those 10-week programs start at $39.50 US, or there's a plus package where you get the 10-week course and program, a 4-week C# scripting course to take either before the development or after the design, and 10 hours of one-on-one support with an expert of ours for $49.50. Now, the bootcamp itself, that 24-week career-oriented program, the full cost of this is about $14,995. We do have a limited amount of scholarships and seats still available for our first inaugural cohort and launch. $7,000 off that we are actually going to be providing a scholarship for. So if you're interested in that, do feel free to reach out, download a syllabus, begin an application, and we'd be happy to work with you and secure one of our launch scholarships available. Now, for all of these programs, we have financing plans through Climb Credit for our American students. They offer loans available for up to 5 years. And we do have flexible payment options in-house here at CircuitStream, from 3-month payment plans to 6-month payment plans, and even over the year, 12-month payment plans. So again, if you're interested with any of our university partners or CircuitStream, feel free to check out these links here. You can screenshot it. We can share it with you later. But we'd love to see if this is something you'd like to pursue to become a designer or developer yourself. Any of our admissions team would be happy to chat. They're always available for support. And please don't hesitate to reach out. We would love to chat with you and see what your goals are and where you'd like to go with this. Now, again, for Simon, feel free to follow him on LinkedIn, Simon Frübis. There's also his Twitter and website that we will be sharing. But with this, I do want to thank everyone for joining us. Let's start with the Q&A session here slowly. I do see a lot of questions in the questions tab, so thank you everyone for tossing those in there. And you know what? I'm just going to remove this presentation here. So we've got myself and Simon on the screen. And Simon, I'm going to start with some of the oldest questions that we have here, and we'll tackle them together. We'll see what we've got
Yes,
here. Does that sound fair?
let's do it.
Perfect. So this one's from Diana Olinik. Great to see you. She's asking, is there any alternative to ShapesXR in the market at the moment for XR prototyping?
Good question. Let me check my list. So, short answer is no. There was Maquette on the market from Microsoft, but they discontinued it. And in my opinion, Maquette was a bit overwhelming and a bit too much functionalities. So this idea of Shapes is to narrow down the barriers and to make it accessible as possible. There are tools like Spline, where you can do 3D creation on your computer in your web browser, and you can do little animations and have some 3D movement in space, but it's not made for VR. There's another tool called Archeo that is pretty similar to the fidelity level of ShapesXR, but it's focused on architecture, but still super powerful tool when you want to do something like something where you want to design architecture, buildings, whatever. That is super nice application. I tried it, and it's also with the collaboration functionalities and AR functions where you can put your city on your table, and it's crazy. And Gravity Sketch is, I think, the closest application to ShapesXR, but it has also more functionalities and is more focused on I think 3D modeling and 3D object design. But you can also work together with so you can use Gravity Sketch in your pipeline and ShapesXR together. So you design a 3D object in Gravity Sketch, and you export it as OBJ and import it in ShapesXR to show it in your scene in the right context in your stop motion concept. And yes, I think this answered your question, hopefully.
Yeah, let us know, Diana. Great question. And Mayank here had a little comment. Which application for architecture, if you mentioned one, Simon?
Archeo, so ARKIO, is the go-to app for architecture.
Archeo, huh? Perfect. Let me just see if I can.
It's also in the list from XR Design Tools.
Perfect. Hopefully that helps, Mayank. Great question there. Awesome. Let's go to the next. So this one's from Hania. Hania is asking, where can we find the Microsoft framework, the MRTK, I believe, when you were touching upon?
Yes, just Google MRTK and you will you will find the Microsoft docs. And I've got also several links in my Notion board. Especially important is the link getting started with Unity and MRTK. I will post it here in the chat. Here there's a list of links.
Perfect.
Where you have lots of MRTK links that are very valuable for the beginning, for the start, with some tutorials, and yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Hopefully that helps out there, Hania. Perfect. So one here from Ksenia. Ksenia is asking, do you have any tips for creating a good handoff for Unity developers? That's a good one, actually.
A good handoff. Wait, one moment. I have to translate.
So I'm assuming, as a designer, you design some things and you're passing it off to the developers.
Passing on,
right?
Yeah, I get it. Good question. Yeah. So So I come from the UI UX field where I designed screen designs and then gave the screen design to the developer who built it in WordPress. And in this stage, a lot of information get lost. But when you use the tools in the right way, like use ShapesXR together with Figma, and export all the icons and export the shape space for the developer, then actually the developer should have a good sense of your vision because he has the storyboard from Shapes and he has a good vision of the layout because you used Figma with the maybe design system behind it, that he knows which kind of UX block from MRTK, for example, he should place where. And I could also imagine that you can create in the future your own design system in ShapesXR. You can import every kind of OBJ. And so, yeah, the limit is your imagination and your creativity. And yeah, all these tools are super new. And yeah, we need more designers like you and me to explore the functionalities, the possibilities, to improve our workflow and to improve the handoff from designer to developer.
That's perfect.
But one last thing, I think what will be in the future very much needed are designers and prototypers who can do both. So I think you will be the designer who creates the concept, and then you will prototype it in Unity. So probably you will hand off an interactive prototype to the developer who is creating the how to say the perfect pixel perfect prototype, the pixel perfect application. And yeah, from there the software or game developer should have already everything in Unity.
Perfect.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a great question, and that's something we hear all the time. How does the designer pass it off to the developer in the most effective way? So, thanks for the insights there, Simon, and great question, Xenia. One here from Louise. Louise is asking, Simon, how did you start transitioning from UX UI to XR? What inspired you to do so?
Very good question. I think I answered it in the interview that I've done with Dejan on Circuit Stream. When you go on the website on blog, you will find an interview where I answered why I quitted my job and lost so much money and lost so much that I built up in the past to follow my passion. And I think it started early in 2017, 16 when I played around with first mobile solutions with Junayo, Metayo and stuff. And there I got hyped, but I saw that yeah, tech is not ready and I'm neither, as I said. And but I was always inspired by all these possibilities that you earn when you take the experience out of this rectangle that you have in front of you. You take it in space, and there other rules take place, other principles are important. And yeah, what can be more interesting than being at that time and being part of exploring these best practices, exploring these patterns, and yeah, doing experiments and figuring out, cool, that works, that not, and what happens when I add some haptics, what happens when I have multisensory feedback, and take a menu out of my hand and stuff. And I think there are a lot of new user experiences that will change how we interact in future with computers. And yeah, this whole possibilities inspire me a lot, and I want to be part of that. And I feel like I have skills that could be combined from the design perspective and the prototyping skills. I will, yeah, slowly get better in. I'm still at the beginning, I would say. And yes. Hope I
Perfect.
answered your question.
I'm sure you did. And you mentioned that you want to be here, and kind of like pioneer everything. There's so many new things, and one of the reasons why I'm with Circus Stream is just seeing this tech grow. Again, still early stages, and so exciting to see what's going to
Yeah.
happen afterwards. Great question there. Great question. Another one from Diana here. Have you designed UI from Figma and transfer the frames to Unity for VR apps design in Oculus Quest? If so, what have you used to
Mm.
make it work? You mentioned just MRTK so far.
Yeah. So yeah, basically I use frameworks in Unity to have less pain, to not invent the wheel, and to be able to use building blocks from frameworks that make my life easier as designer. But there are not so much frameworks on the market at the moment. So most of the people are designing their menus or their UIs from scratch. So really from zero. And Figma, and when you're gonna design from scratch, Figma is just an inspiration, like a JPEG. You put it to side, and then you try to build it in Unity from 0 to 100. But with the framework, I'm using the MRTK Figma templates, that I don't have to redesign everything also in Figma, and I don't have to redesign everything or recode everything in Unity. And that saves a lot of time, because already this whole development process for XR is a interdisciplinary team effort. And so you need to find things where you can save time. And yeah, right.
Perfect.
So there's MRTK and Interaction SDK on the market to save some time. And Figma is just a support thing and a help for prototyping afterwards.
That's helpful. No, thank you for sharing that, Simon. Super helpful, and I hope that helped as well, Diana. Great question. Here's from Elia, and Elia was asking, as someone with zero experience in XR, with which program should I start, and therefore where should I start? So it's a great question, Elia. I mean, it really depends on you, right? Are you good at learning things on your own? If so, YouTube has a lot of great content. Following thought leaders like Simon and other people where they're sharing their insights is a great way to learn more. Self-led courses like through Udemy or Coursera offer some things you can do. But if you struggle with without guidance and someone there to actually help you and support you along the way, I'm biased, but I'd say Circuit Stream as well is a great way to start, even with zero experience. You'll have instructors and mentors who have been in the industry for several years. It's all live and online. They help you every step through the way. You've got support, endless support in so many different channels. But from your end, Simon, anything that you would share here with someone?
Yes, I would add something. You are right. I can talk from the perspective where I had no mentoring, no help in learning coding and learning all this, and I felt super lost. I felt very sometimes, yeah. I was struggling with problems where I felt like if I would ask this somebody who knows how to deal with C#, who knows basics of Unity, he could answer me that in one sentence, and I am sitting there until 6 in the morning.
Figuring it out.
But so in this moment, I felt like I could have need a mentor, somebody I could ask these questions and who could answer them quickly, because you will have a lot of these dumb questions, and you will fail a lot. And on this journey, it's very, very, very helpful, or at least it saves a lot of time when you can ask somebody like from Circuit Stream or from this community who helps you. And yeah, when you have in a way the money to spend for something like that, I can highly recommend it. But you can also learn it by your own. It will be just longer and a bit more painful, but in this journey, you will also maybe learn something you won't learn in the bootcamp, and maybe you will learn the state-of-the-art stuff that is written in Google or in YouTube. But yeah, everything has its down and upsides. Yeah, you need I think a lot of patience or discipline when you do it on your own. But it's worth it, and every mistake is worth it because you learn something else that you need or that you can need later. And so no mistake is waste of time, I would say,
Yeah.
in the learning process.
That's true. That's true. And great insights as well. Thank you for sharing that as well, Simon. This one's from David. Maybe this was Dave. I don't know. Peterson. For you, Simon, what's your next cool project that you're working on?
I'm working at the moment on scroll interfaces. I want to explore where are we scrolling in the future through media. And when I'm sitting on the couch, am I scrolling on my thighs? Am I scrolling on the couch itself? How I'm interacting with the objects around me? How's the haptic feedback, especially? How can vibrotactile feedback on my arm add some more or make the experience richer? And yeah, this field is where I'm exploring new interaction experiences, and I'm also doing some hardware stuff. I don't know if you can see it, this wristband that you saw on LinkedIn probably. Also do some tinkering with haptics and yeah, exploring input devices. How are we using input technology and to create better interaction design patterns for XR?
I love it.
Yeah.
Great question, David. And follow up on from David, is this where you see the biggest potential? His question was, where do you think there's the biggest potential for UX in XR right now?
I think at the moment there's a big lack of UX UI experts in this field, because it's full of game developers and software developers who know how to work with Unity, how to create cool apps, or how to create functional things when somebody tells them. But they are missing the people who have the design thinking methodology in mind, who have who know the tools to prototype the idea, to just hand over the finished concept. And I think there's a lot of potential in combining designer and prototyper. And in designer, I would count also UX designer. And yeah, I think every future XR team will have a UX design prototyper in their team, and doesn't matter which field. It will be like building worlds, building VR trainings for medical purpose, building VR trainings for whatever in a factory, or yeah, there's tons of examples on Twitter and LinkedIn, and everywhere there's so many UX problems, unsolved UX problems, where you will be needed. And yeah, so yeah, that's my answer.
I love it. Perfect. Now I did sort the questions by upvotes here, just so we can get some of the most
Yeah.
upvoted ones. So here's one from Jared Long. Jared Long is asking, can you become an XR designer without writing code?
I think yes. I think you can create value already with all the stuff that I showed you today without touching MRTK or Unity, just by using the design methodologies and some of these design tools like Procreate, ShapesXR, Gravity Sketch, and creating your visions. When you are able to create very cool interaction design visions, then you have already a value where you never wrote a line of code. You just need a Quest headset and yeah, and that's it actually. I also have a Windows machine. When you want to do stuff like exploring VR chat worlds, or when you start developing for VR, at the moment you need a Windows machine. But it's slowly getting into Mac environments. Unity is compatible to Mac, but you can't deploy on VR in a nice, efficient way. You can't press play and then it plays on your Quest. You have to compile your app, and that's a no-brainer. So also the reason why I bought the Windows machine. Yes, but it will change I think in the next 2 years. You will be slowly be able to develop on Mac. But until every kind of development environment and every kind of plugin will be compatible to Mac, it will take 5 years minimum or longer. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I'd agree as well, right? I mean, as a designer, if you know how to code, it'll just make you that much better, but not really necessary to become an XR designer. So great insights. Thank you, Simon. One here from Louise. Louise is asking, what is the interview process like for XR jobs? And what are the
Yeah.
requirements they are looking for? This I'm curious
Yeah.
to know about this one as well.
I had a talk these days with a design product manager from Meta, and in London, and he explained me in short how it looks like. So for when you want to apply for a design prototyper role at Meta, the first stage is you're going to a 30-minute screening where they screen your passion, if you have the right passion for which field, or for the field in total, or for what burns your heart.
Uh-huh.
And in the second interview, if 45 minutes, you will unpack your work, your projects. You will explain your portfolio. And in the third interview, you will have in the second interview, it's 30 minutes. And the last interview is a 45-minute experiment or project where you get a task and you show them how you can code or how you design and how you think, where you have to do a hands-on project on the fly. And the results of this, you don't have to be scared that you have to be something in a way. The result of it will show if you match a position in the company, and it will the level of skill. It shows the level of skill and where they want to put you or not in the company. And that's, for example, at Meta. And the requirements, what they are looking for is, I think, projects. Do some prototyping, do some working, show your prototypes on LinkedIn to create awareness, and on Twitter, and put them on a website, and explore the field. Show how explorative your mindset is and what inspires you, and test it, and try to solve UX problems that are on the bleeding edge. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, I mean, biggest takeaways, I think, at least some things that I've learned over the past couple of years is, portfolio is a big one, how speaking to the processes and how you actually went about creating these projects. Working with teams, right? Having that collaborative spirit, the passion you mentioned, Simon. Are you actually interested in this stuff? So many different things go about it, but it is the passion. It is the speaking to processes, showing how you've done things, and the portfolios you have as well. Great. Thank you, Simon.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's any
Absolutely.
other. There is. Okay, so this one's from CU. CU, great to see you here. Join us. What is the most challenging part in your process of prototyping, would you say, Simon?
To accept this slow process. So accepting this slow process of developing, because as designer you are expecting quick results, quick visual results. You yeah, design a screen design, and you have it in 3 hours, and you see something, or you see rectangles. And in Unity or with prototyping, you're spending most of your time on Google troubleshooting and figuring out ways how to solve your problem. So it's most of the time failure and problem solving. And at the beginning, when you are getting more and more into it, you're really realizing it with every. It's like with every thing you learn, you're getting faster. And but the beginning is very intense, I would say, and yeah, and to accept this, that it's so slow sometimes. It was hard at the beginning, but it helped me to tell myself it's part of the process, that I have to go the extra meter, that I have to search for this little shit piece of syntax that I don't know how to write that. And it's part of the process, and I'm learning at the moment. I am slow, and it will get better. Yeah.
Thank you. No, that I think that makes sense, and hopefully that helps you. Great to see you again here. Um, awesome. So before I do continue on here, how are you on time, Simon? Are you got anything going on? Do you have
Yeah,
to be
that's
out?
fine. I think 15 minutes should be
Perfect. Let's try
fine.
and
Yeah.
bang through some more here because I know there's a lot of questions still here. Let me check the chat. Excellent answer. Very true. Takes time. Awesome. So here's from one from Albert, and Albert's asking, what's the closest, I assume, thing to a material design, human interface, or bootstrap in XR?
MRTK. At the
MRTK, got
moment,
it.
MRTK is the closest bootstrap framework to things like material design, but it's MRTK was developed by by software developers, by game developers from Microsoft, and still also there is a big lack of interaction designers who make these experience more human friendly, more user friendly. But it's already a great start for the industry, and it's free for all, and it's a great gift from Microsoft where you can learn a lot of the interaction mechanics, and you can learn a lot from the example hub or the example library from them. And yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Awesome. So MRTK, Albert, that's the one. And Albert did have another question around MRTK. Does it work with Mac? From what he was looking at, seems to only be Windows. So what do you think,
Yeah.
Simon?
Yes, I think I saw your question already before. I was Googling to find the place on their docs where they mentioned it. I remember that I saw somewhere that they are developing a Mac version, a Mac compatible version,
Uh-huh.
but
Uh-huh.
it's not online yet.
Yep.
But even if it will be online, the development process will be, I think, user-friendly for HoloLens 2 development, but not for Oculus Quest 2,
Uh-huh.
because you have still the problem that you can't use Quest 2 in play mode in the editor. You have to um, compile your app. But these problems will be hopefully solved soon, because there are a lot of designers who, like me, who want to use their Mac. I have both here, and I try to use my Windows as little as possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would love it if I could do all on Mac, but
Yeah.
at the moment, not not the case.
Some limitations. Yeah. No, great question though,
Yeah.
Albert. And thanks again, Simon. Let's see what else we got here. Another one from Albert. Albert was saying, you say tech was not ready back in 2017. How ready do you think it is now? And I mean, I can touch up on this a little bit as well. Like, and feel free to
Mhm.
dive into this too, Simon. But tech is I always like to compare the evolution of VR and AR to the evolution of like the cell phone, right? Like back in the day, you had
Mhm.
big brick like cell phones that you can take down buildings and walls with, and over time they got more compact, smaller, more powerful, more user accessible and friendly and more affordable into, maybe not more affordable nowadays, but the smartphones and everything that we have. And that's what I like to compare AR and VR to, right? Like back in the day, only the military could really afford this stuff, and they were very big and clunky, and you have to carry around your like a computer or something with you all the time. Super expensive, not super powerful. But now we have the Oculus Quests, the Picos, the HoloLenses, the Magic Leaps, the all these new other devices coming out, more accessible, more affordable, consumer friendly. So those are my thoughts, but feel free to dive in here, Simon, and then share some of your
Yeah, I
insights.
just have to add maybe some little short thoughts about to that. I think since 2020, with the release of Quest, technology has reached a point where it's ready. So it's really ready, and now it's slowly getting ready also for designers. It's still a pain. I would say designers will become prototypers, or yeah, a mixture, because it's still so much a pain, and but it's worth it, and it will get better. There will be more frameworks. There will be more. It's like with websites. When you imagine before 10 years, building a website was super complicated and shitty, and now you can just drag and drop, and you go on
Yeah,
some website
yeah,
building platforms, and yeah, everyone can do that now. And I think this will also happen with XR. um, but yeah, we can already now as designer jump into that and be part of designing the interaction design patterns. And yeah, that is what drives me at the moment to join this field.
I love it. I
Super
love it.
exciting.
Great
Yeah.
question, Albert. Great question. Thank you. This one's from Mark, and Mark is asking, Simon, your workflow seems to be so flawless. Could it be done on Mac only? So we did touch up on this as well.
I I tried really everything to do it on Mac because I had not this Windows machine here. I ordered an external GPU. I
Okay.
borrowed it from my university, and I tried to install Windows on my Mac, um, and it was not possible because of driver issues. I was figuring out day and night, and nothing worked. And it was painful to buy this Windows machine, but I had to. And now I would say it was worth it because there are so many things that you want to explore that sometimes just work on Windows. Or yeah, it's just when you have a Windows machine, you will have less pain in the process, and you can be faster, and you can do more things, and you don't have to wait until there's a version for Mac there. um, yeah, until now I wasn't able to develop on Mac, but there's also one little GitHub repository where someone created a plugin called Linkintosh.
Okay.
And this is kind of a hack around where you are able to use the play mode with a Mac over Wi-Fi. So the values of your headsets, the position value and rotation, is sent over Wi-Fi to Unity, and that way you can use it something like on Windows. But I haven't tried it, and it sounds very buggy. And yeah, and still all the integrations like Oculus integration and MRTK need to be compatible to on Mac. And yeah, this still needs time, I think, at least for MRTK.
Right. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Thanks for sharing that, Simon. This one is from another Mark, and Mark was asking, what about WebXR in general? What if you can't use a game engine for final development phases?
WebXR is a field that I'm observing. Not, I don't have really a touch point with WebXR. Um, but I can imagine that also WebXR, especially when hand tracking gets more and more compatible in this field, will be super interesting to just deploy something like a website or an experience, and you can send a link and you don't have to install anything. You can just open it, and that is a huge UX plus
Yeah.
or usability plus. And yeah, and your question, what if you can't use a game engine for final phase? Yeah, I think WebXR is still in development, and but it will have its time. It will have. It will has have. It has have. Yeah, it's time, and but I think it's not there yet, because you can't do as much as you need for full functional experiences like you could do in these game engines like Unreal or Unity.
Right. Perfect. Awesome. So we've got about another 5 minutes or so. So let's see. So many questions that you guys are great. There's so many awesome questions here.
Thank
Let's
you.
see what to get done, just so we can help everyone at least with one question. Let's ask. Let's do. Okay, let's do the recent one because we know they're still tuned in here. This one's from Louis or Louis, and he was asking, what other specialties can help to think in XR? I mean, radically different. For example, I found graffiti painting, paint, and theater related to XR. Music production is one that comes to my mind as well, creating beats or songs in VR or in XR. Ooh, what's another good one, Simon, that you can think of? Radically different specialties.
Specialties that can help to think in XR. I try to understand the question right. Uh, I mean,
So what is
graffiti painting. To
Yeah, so I
think in,
think like probably just different ways to maybe express, think in XRs, music production. You already mentioned
yeah,
graffiti
absolutely.
painting, art.
So I think club experiences will take place in the
Mm-hmm,
future in
mm-hmm.
XR,
Yep, yep.
and awesome, nice club experiences, and also psychedelica shit, and also DJing, and I've got an OPZ here for making music, and my vision was to be able to control my world around me with my music, and this could be so next level and awesome. And I think I'm pretty close to it with Touch Designer, but don't have time at the moment for that. Um, yeah, and yeah, music. There's also this game called Electronaut. Is it Electronaut? I have to, yeah, where you can play drums, and having drumsticks is something very cool in VR, and just to play around and just jam, and yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know
should
if I answered the question.
it's a tough one. There's so many different ways to kind of
Yeah.
help promote thinking in XR. But great question, Lewis. Thank you. Uh, let's see. This one is oh, I'm so sorry, folks. Let's do another 2, 3 questions. Um, we've got one here from Peyton. Peyton's asking, I'm currently in university and planning on changing my major to something that would assist me in my plans for XR design. Is there a specific degree or area of study that you see people enter this career in? Do you have any
Yeah.
higher education?
Um, so I think the education has to be invented for that. But there are already study programs who focus on that and are changing in this direction, like interaction design. In my master's program, they are um, redesigning their program from year to year to match these developments for the metaverse and stuff, and to teach these things. And like, so the top level keyword I would say is interaction design, and human computer interaction is sometimes a study program, or um, Yeah, I think most of the time I see these kind of words when I'm seeing universities that offer things in AR VR stuff.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, it's a super new field, and education is not the disruptive field, I would say. So if you want to learn stuff like this, I would suggest to learn it by yourself and try to find a study program that is as closest as possible to this. And yeah,
Perfect.
so
Well,
for me,
thank
it
you.
was interaction design. Yeah.
Right, interaction design. So hopefully that helps out, Peyton. Great question. Let's do one more here, one or two more. I can't remember how many I said, but this one's from, and my apologies if I mispronounce your name, Ghislaine or Ghislaine. Can we also have some references and tools when it comes to design haptics based applications? Um, Interesting.
Haptics-based applications. Yeah. So
I could.
yes, yeah. That's a bit more technical, this field. So it's getting out of the design bubble, I would say. Um, Haptics. So I've got a YouTube tutorial that it's actually my only video on YouTube, um, where I explained how I added haptics, audio haptics to XR, and I'm gonna share this video in a second. How I edit haptics here. Copy, paste. So there I'm explaining the workaround. Um, I think you can explore most with audio haptics at the moment when you want to do low fidelity stuff. There are devices on the market like Vuja or Baselit. Baselit you have to order by email from Lofeld, where you can just plug in the audio cable from Quest, and then you can trigger an audio effect. And this audio effect you can design it either with Ableton Live if you are a music guy, or you can design it with it's basically just a bass sound with a special frequency from 80 hertz to 150 hertz, for example, and yeah, you can do that also with the ready-made application called Syntax. But I feel like I should create a haptics resources page on Notion. Yeah, here Syntax, it's the go-to open source thing for haptics. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Great question. Love it. Let's do one last one. One last
Okay.
one. This one's from Frederick. Frederic, and Frederick was asking, this is more on the implementation side. What is the equivalent of MVC for an XR app? Do you use dependency injection in your XR apps? If so, which one? And how do you perform automated tests for an XR app?
Very specific question. So I saw this question already when you did the
Uh-huh.
outro, and I was googling MVC, so it's model view controller.
Yep.
So the basic structure for designing user interfaces. But I had that in my study program, but I can't remember exactly what the meaning was. But to answer maybe half of the question, dependency injection in your XR apps. Dependency injection doesn't tell me anything. So probably I can't answer this question. Next question, if so, which one? How do you perform automated tests for an XR app? Automated tests, you mean collecting automatically user data, or because when I'm testing, I'm having the headset in front of me and testing the hand interactions. I think Frederick is right typing. Yeah, but when you're developing for hand interactions, there is a nice life hack. So here, for example, I've got my Quest. the build process. Okay, I finish my sentence. Try to find workflows how not to be pressured to put your headset on and off again 1,000 times. I, for example, have a little selfie stick here, and I put some stuff on it. Try to hack around the workflow where you just can have your headset in a position where you can put your hands in front of it, and so you just have to press the play button, and then can test your scroll interaction or whatever. But he meant not manual testing. Automated testing means I have a virtual environment where something is doing the hand interactions. There is in MRTK, you can simulate hand movements or hand interactions. You can record your hand interactions, and then it's saved in a JSON file, and then you can play them, and they will do the interactions without you having to do them. But in practice, I felt like it's not so practical because sometimes elements are somewhere else, and then the recorded thing doesn't grab the right button, and there's so many false interactions that I figured out for myself. The best practice is to have your headset somewhere in front of you where you can do the interaction quickly.
Right.
Yeah. And
Perfect.
probably there is anything available yet. Yeah.
No, great. It got me thinking. I didn't know what much to say to that, Frederick, but it got Simon thinking as well. Great question, nonetheless. Feel free to join our Slack channel. Maybe someone from our team here at Circus Stream can shed light on that. But Simon, the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
It's
Almost 2 hours long. I said it was going to be an hour to an hour and a half. So thank you for taking your time, sharing your insights and expertise to everyone who's still tuned in here. I think we still have more than half the audience who stayed till the very end of the 2 hours here. So great to have you. Honestly, an honor and a pleasure to have an expert like you here join us. Thank you.
Thanks.
And with that, awesome. And with that, to the audience still here today, thanks for sticking around. I know some of you are, maybe in Germany, even further out east. Super late for you. Thank you for staying up, checking out this workshop and webinar. Again, if you would like to follow Simon on any of the channels, here is his LinkedIn that I'm tossing in the chat. You can find him on Twitter and follow him on Twitter here as well. And last but not least, his website with a lot of the resources he shared. I've tossed it in the chat for you all. But again, thank you everyone for sticking around, for joining us today on this workshop and webinar. And to Simon, really couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for everything.
Welcome. Thanks.
Take care, everyone, and thanks again for joining us. Hope to see you again soon. Bye.